Alito5, thanks. 1 out of 2. I saw Morch today at the supermarket when he got in line behind me. I said he cut in front of me, but I guess he thought I meant the whole line. When the cashier asked him to get back in line, he pulled out a knife saying, I'm allowed to... saying, I'm allowed to cut. That's actually really funny. They pulled out a knife saying, I'm allowed to cut. That poor cashier. Keep up the good work. Behanort says, Hi, Morge. How was the orphan saving today? Oh, you didn't hear the beginning of the stream? I actually kicked the orphan I saw today. Do you think Law could join the Battle of Egghead? Law could join the Battle of Egghead as what? A corpse? Someone that just sits around in a hospital bed? What's he gonna do in the... Actually, Law is very well equipped to heal himself, right? Better than anybody in the world. What's gonna be his role in the story going forward? I think it's crazy interesting what just happened to Law and Kid. I think it's really, 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 really interesting what just happened to the two of them. Because, I mean, the parallels are obviously significant. People are saying that there's a big difference between the words used. Like, one was completely destroyed, the other's just defeated and stuff. I don't think that makes that much of a difference because there's visually so much similarities in terms of the ships being destroyed and stuff like that. Both of them fighting a Yonko. I wonder if there's a team-up in the future. A team-up again. Maybe a reluctant team-up, but perhaps a team-up. Behanort says, it's interesting that Luffy's two fake rivals got beaten by Luffy's actual rivals. Agreed, and both had the same framing as Sabaody, in an arc that's supposed to be a giant Sabaody parallel for the Strats. Yeah, it's really cool, honestly, when you think about it more. They got Sabaodied here. That's hilarious. They got Sabaodied here. Again, I will repeat this over and over. With Kid, it's kind of just stupid because he already got Sabaodied for no reason, essentially, the Wano arc. You can remove Kid and everything he did from the Wano arc and just move that to here, and it would be basically the same thing. Because he didn't learn anything over the course of the fucking Wano arc. He went through nothing. He technically went through, I learned to trust people a little better, but that was the most half-assed, like, character arc we've ever seen because it basically, like, there was no writing behind it. It was kind of just like, fuck you, Appu, I'll never trust you again. End of the arc, it's like, it's Appu, hey, dude. Oh, I'm gonna take down Kaido by myself. Oh, you know what? Luffy's gonna take down Kaido, and I guess Law and I'll help take down Big Mom. But then by the end of the arc, it's again like, Luffy got credit for he's been called a Yonko and shit like that? Well, why? This makes no sense. I don't know. Kids writing and whatever. Why don't you just Sabaody him once here with Shanks? Why even have him mess up the Wano arc? It's just so random and like, just all of that came to nothing if you're just gonna have him go through the same shit here. It would be like if Luffy and the crew got Sabaodied, and then they got back up, and then, like, they're like, alright, we're good, and the Sabaody arc led to nothing, and then, like, the next island over, they went to Fishman Island or something, and then it happened all over again, and then they're like, okay, this time we need to train and stuff. It's like, it's just wasted storytelling. It's like, why do it the first time? It makes no sense. Mike Ellis, thanks for the 10. Hey, Morge, you talked about Green Bull, so I'm wondering, what do you think about Usopp will get Conquerors Hopers? Unironically, I seriously think that he will get it. What are your odds? What are the odds in your opinion, 1 to 10? I put the odds at 6. Maybe they should not be that high. But I personally think that it would be really good for his character to get it, and I think that he does weirdly fulfill a lot of the criteria of Conquerors. It's just that he needs to, like, the moments that he gets when he stands up for himself are as good as so many other characters in the series. It's just that he's got to push past so much of himself to get to those moments, and I think that that's, that will make him maybe the most, his Conqueror spirit is maybe the most buried of any other character, but I think that that's what could potentially make him the most interesting to see rise up and become, like, rise up and finally grow into his disposition of a king or whatever. The Outback Pandas! Holy shit, thank you for the 50, man. Pisses me off that Chopper developed a Sulong drug but hasn't made shit for any of his crewmates. Something for Luffy's stamina or letting Robin go Demonio more often. Anyway, is Oda setting up a Straw Hat L, or will they succeed where the others failed? So, my take... Okay, let me give my take on the Chopper thing. I think with Chopper... we gotta give Chopper credit in that he is constantly healing the rest of the crew, right? So he does that every arc. Developing something for the rest of them... I'm gonna give him, like, it's kind of I'm kind of giving a pass because I'm just like, well, I wouldn't have expected Chopper to develop something for Luffy's stamina before this, but he did develop something for Beppo. I think part of it is that it's just that it feels very right up Chopper's alley, right? I mean, creating the Rumble Ball and creating something like this for Beppo, it feels very, very similar. It feels very similar. I wonder if Chopper himself could go Sulong. Wouldn't that be interesting to see if Chopper... I mean, it doesn't make sense. He's not a mink, but I think Oda can play with the logic behind that easily, and none of us would question it if it's like, hey, Chopper's got a Sulong form. Because he's so similar, right? So I'm not going to say anything about that, or letting Robin go Demonio more often. Is Robin limited in going Demonio? I don't know. I think Luffy's stamina is the only clear physical drawback that one of them has for fighting. And, you know, at the end of the day, if Chopper could develop something that cancels out the effects of Gear 4th draining his energy, or Gear 5th or whatever, I think it would just break the series too much. So we gotta give it what it is. Anyway, is Oda setting up in a Straw Hat L, or will this succeed where the others failed? So that's the question of the... That's the biggest question, I think, right now, right? I'm gonna go ahead and say... and this might seem surprising to you guys based on my reputation as focusing so heavily on the raid failing. Guys, get the stream likes up to 300. Let's get the stream likes to 300. But despite me saying, like, the raid's gonna fail, etc., a lot during Wano, I personally feel like this could be a little different in that, yeah, I think that Luffy and the Straw Hats will have some major setback or defeat or something like that over the course of the final saga, or some, some point where they experience a real major difficulty or something that shakes them up. I definitely think that'll happen at some point in the final saga. I just don't know if that's gonna happen right now. It would feel fitting happening right now because, obviously what we're seeing with the other crews. But I think it would be a bit more powerful if it happened a little bit later along the line in the final saga. Because otherwise it's like, what? Like, Luffy gets the shit beat out of him and then he goes and meets Shanks or something like that. Wouldn't that feel a little bit sad or disappointing that Shanks is kind of coming across Luffy when he's, you know, really down? It's kind of like Shanks wanted to meet Luffy. When did he want to meet Luffy? It was like after Whole Cake Island, when Luffy was declared an emperor. So after a big W, Shanks was like, hey, it's almost time for us to meet. Similarly, after Marineford, when Luffy's at his lowest, Shanks was like, isn't this not a good time to meet? So maybe I'm putting the order of things out of order. But in my mind, it's kind of just like, I feel like they're supposed to ride a bit of a high right now. And I think that kicking off the final saga with them demonstrating why they're a Yonko crew for a little bit, I think that would be really, really good before them experiencing some sort of setback, and then getting one final resurgent comeback victory, whatever, etc., against whoever they need to, the Blackbeard Pirates, World Government, etc. Does Bill Russell save Ace? Oh, I love this question. Does Bill Russell save Ace? Okay. Bill Russell was like a pirate that existed back before they had haki. All right, so imagine a world with no haki. Maybe there's a couple devil fruits lying around, but they're all weak ass devil fruits, like the door fruit or like the candle fruit or something. Like they're some weak ass devil fruits or whatever. And in this era, Bill Russell is the pirate king. There is no world's strongest swordsman because no one knows how to use a sword at this point in time. They're so weak they can barely pick up a sword. No haki, random ass devil fruits. Sure, the Marine Force, which at this point in time is mostly composed of plumbers and part-time milkmen, because, you know, no one has a full-time job as a Marine. The Marine Force of this era, yeah, they capture Ace, and Bill Russell shows up with the most stacked-ass pirate squad of all time, of his era. They've got the only devil fruits in existence, let's say. And yeah, they managed to defeat the plumbers and milkmen and save Ace. Also, they do this 11 times, and then people 100 years later keep calling them the greatest pirate crew of all time for some reason, even though everybody since then has actually become strong and learned haki, and has taken up marining and pirating as a full-time job. I'm allowed to cut.